welcome to another episode of StuTube, guys. Honestly, Bitcoin to me looks fairly good. Actually, it looks really good. There is a couple of things that I want to be a little bit cautious about, but Bear Stew is in hibernation mode at this point. I am very curious to see how this weekly candle closes. To me, it looks like it's going to be a nice close, but I mean, there is potential that we did get this little bit of a double top, right? This is still technically all-time high resistance. It was a perfect double top. Looking at the RSI, technically a bit of a bearish divergence, not the exact one that I would want, but honestly, I would like to see this RSI go into overextended conditions again. I think that would be the best thing to see because when Bitcoin does get into that overbought territory on the weekly time frame, I mean, that's basically when these crazy parabolic runs even happen, right? A lot of people look at the RSI wrong. I mean, in a strong trend like that, that just means there's a shit ton of buying pressure, relative strength index, right? So as it stands right now, I mean, I really want to see this weekly candle close. I would love to see it close above that sell signal and invalidate it, because in Bitcoin's history, those signals have been insanely accurate. Every single time except for once, they have caused at least, well, a 44 to a 66% correction, except this one halfway through the last market cycle, right? But kind of when we had that fake out. Yeah, every other time, this has been a massive signal. I mean, there is no arguing that, but obviously it doesn't have to happen again. I could relax a little bit and assume that, the bears are extinct once we actually change that, once we actually break that level. As well, just zooming it out, or I'll zooming in a little bit. This is the chart that I have been very vocal about for the last, I think since June is basically where I started outlining this. We have broke that trend. As far as that trend goes that I have been so concerned about, there's no doubt about it. This is very obviously the strongest rally that we've had so far because, we just did have that series of lower lows and lower highs. I personally, just looking at, and obviously, yes, there's smaller ranges inside these big ranges, but this was the big macro range that I was concerned about. When I'm looking at these ranges, I'm not confirming the lower highs until the new structure has broken, right? So after we get this lower low, that's when I'm confirming this as our lower high. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this macro trend here. And, we finally did break that level. That has been my line in the sand ever since early August when we bottomed out around 49K. I was basically saying, this is going to be a level of interest for me as far as shorts go. The Stuber fib there. And yes, there was a couple, I trade shorter time frames anyways. I was playing some shorts and now I'm just pumping the brakes again because, we did break that line in the sand that I had. So this 8-month downtrend, in my opinion, is broken. The only thing is, again, we technically do still have this all-time high resistance. Some charts did break it very briefly. But as it stands, I mean, I'm looking at this. This does have my interest a little bit is how the RSI looks because it was very overextended at one point. And now we do technically have that bearish divergence with the double top. And this is a chart pattern. This one isn't perfectly clean, but it's fairly good. This is a pattern that I had back tested. I think this was the most back-tested pattern that I ever did. It's basically the first pattern that I started trading. I think it was 2 years worth of data on the 4-hour and the daily charts, and I back-tested something like a 87-88% success rate of those turning into reversals. Now, this is one reason why I am still open to the idea that we might see some sort of a violent shakeout before carrying on the bull market. Again, I don't want to sound like a perma bear. I know I've been bearish for so long and we have invalidated pretty much everything, except there is still that weekly sell signal. There is still this potential double top. I just don't want to let my guard down and let FOMO totally take the wheel quite yet. That being said, I personally think we are going to break it. I think in, maybe even this week, or next week, whatever. I really do think we are going to break it, but some sort of a pullback, it's possible, right? What I would like to see is that we're just pulling back and testing support of this range back here. So, what I would like to see would be a pullback to the Stuber fib, which would be right around 67,000, basically 67 down to 66, with the actual support down at around 65. I would really like to basically see the bulls step in and defend that level if we are going to pull back to that. If not, there is the potential of a much bigger pullback that would still be bullish, in my opinion. But when I look for Stuber fibs, you guys know that I like to see that structure break followed by a Fibonacci pullback. And now we actually have this broken structure here, but that doesn't mean we can't pull back to a Fibonacci, right? So if I do pull this full swing here, in my opinion, it would still be bullish if we dropped all the way down towards 54, down towards 52,000. If we bounced from that level, I think that would be absolutely beautiful. I don't know how likely that is. I want to be very clear about that. It's not that I'm saying that we are going there and I'm banking on that right now. Nothing like that. But just understand, I feel much different about this chart than I did a few weeks ago, or even a few days ago. Basically, I was thinking that, as we were below my Stuber fib there on this macro swing, there was always potential for that pullback where we never actually had a Stuber fib here. We did have a 786, 886. Just let me show you what I mean. When we were down at this level, since we had never actually broke this structure, had we pulled back, this wouldn't have been an actual Stuber fib because we never had the structure break with it. Whereas right now, we do have that structure break, and I would feel a lot better as far as buying this level if we do get down there. I think that would actually be a very healthy retrace. I would rather see a strong trend where we hold the current structure, right? Rather than testing the macro support one more time, I'd really like to see just, the current swing that we're on here. I would really like to see this just carry on, because as it stands, this is the higher low structure that I'm looking at on this immediate trend. Just because with this rally, it would basically be high, higher high, lowest point between the two would be my higher low, right? Just like what I was talking about with the macro range. So I would really like to see this hold, to see some good strength from the bulls. But a pullback down here, yeah, I'd be looking for some potential long setups there. I'd be looking at shorter time frames, but I'd be very interested in those levels. We got to be ready for anything, right? Some sort of a black swan event happens. This higher high doesn't actually matter, and it does just end up getting this double top with that bearish divergence I was talking about. And guys, that's on a daily time frame. So if that does play out and the RSI does end up going all the way back down towards that 30 area, it's hard to say how fast it's going to happen, how aggressive it happens, if it even happens, obviously. But we start to look like we're getting near oversold conditions, near support. Then yeah, I'm going to feel very good about those levels. But if there's some sort of, war escalation, something happens with the election, some sort of black swan event, and this double top really takes off and is a full-on reversal, then, we still technically have those crazy low targets. Oh, that's not even on this chart. Some crazy low targets that I don't even really want to talk about because I don't think that they're I am going to talk about it. I don't think they're likely at this point, but the structure is technically there that if there was some sort of a crazy black swan event, we still could see that 786, 886 down around 28 to 22,000. I want to be very, very clear about this, you guys. I don't think we're going there. It's just something that if we do all of a sudden start dropping support levels, important support levels, even something like that, I would immediately be looking to limit in, just setting limit orders all over this Fibonacci pocket. Because if we were to get there, I don't think it would last long. It would be a crazy violent shakeout, and the bull market would go absolutely nuts after that, in my opinion. I think it would have so much momentum behind it. I think it would be very much just like what happened with COVID, right? Back here, yeah, it also never felt like that we could go back to those levels, but we had that weekly sell signal. Look at the Fibonacci. And, had a person done that when we started losing those important levels like that, if you had just stacked spot orders in this fib pocket, you would have been laughing that entire market cycle. So it's not that I think it's going to happen. It's just that I want to be ready if it does happen. Two very different things, right? So yeah, going back to the 4 hour, actually, I wanted to check the daily as well. Oh yeah, see, we actually kind of looks like we're finding a nice little support flip on this box here. I took a little bit of a long earlier. I wonder how that's running. I want to hop over to the daily chart here. So I'm going to actually delete all my drawings, and I want to bring up the auto charting tools. So this indicator actually agreed strongly with my chart structure, right? My lower high was that same 70K level. It agrees that it wasn't confirmed until we had our lower low and then broke that, set a lower low, highest point between the two, our lower high. So it agrees. And the fact that we broke that level, broke that confirmation, or confirmed on the auto charting tools rather, even with some sort of a pullback right now, I am leaning far more bullish than bearish at this point. I think the fact that, that was my structure level, that was my line in the sand, the auto charting tools confirming it here, the fact that it was invalidated here, I don't really care if there is some sort of a pullback. I still think it's going to be bullish. It just might be a little bumpy ride. I mean, the same thing happened last market cycle. When we tested all-time highs, it got quite volatile for a little bit, and I think that this is no different. So I still will be on the lookouts for more longs. I've been favoring the bearish side for quite some time. I was trading longs on the way up, but I was more so focused on, hitting those macro Stuber fibs from the bearish side of things with tight invalidations. And, it played out great for a few swings here. But at this point, I'm just feeling the opposite right now. The fact that we invalidated this, I'm more so looking for those pullbacks to be long in. And one thing I'm really going to be looking for, looking ahead, is with the ALGO Master tool. I absolutely love, I just want to get this out of the way here. Where is backtesting off? Just to make it a little easier to read here. One thing that I love using the ALGO Master tool, indicator for you guys, and I know this is going to be familiar to a lot of you, but I love looking for which way these buy and sell signals are trending. Not so much each individual one, but where they are trending, right? So here, for example, this sell signal, technically the next one is a little bit higher, right? So that is technically a higher buy signal, or sell signal rather. And here we have a higher buy signal. And I mean, just look at how that played out, right? I mean, even though it would have closed way up here, I mean, it's still holding a beautiful trend from there so far, right? So that's very much so something I'm going to be looking at on the shorter time frames as well. And, helping me decide if I should be trading the upside or the downside, because yeah, you guys know that I like trading shorter time frames anyways. But when I'm looking for those Stuber fibs or those swing fails and stuff like that, I want to, basically I like to look at this indicator and confirm that it is trending the direction I think it is, right? Here I did have, yeah. Okay. So yeah, I took a long earlier on just that. So basically we had the sell signals and buy signals. Just notice how this happened here, right? I guess more so down here, but a couple of times where we see these downward trending sell signals, that they're beautiful short entries basically. And that's exactly what led me to take a little bit of a long now. I was actually in a short earlier because I was playing the retests of this line, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, I closed that short and I ended up taking a little bit of a long, just in case this trend continues here basically. I actually might even scale out a little bit. Actually, I'm going to leave it for now. But basically, what I'm looking at with the auto charting tools, we printed a higher high signal, a higher low signal. We have the ALGO Master indicator printing higher sell signals and higher buy signals. So again, just something confirming that, hey, yeah, maybe that is all the bears had in the tank. Maybe we are reversing to the upside now. Something to be a little bit cautious of right now is I was watching this little range earlier, and I mean it wasn't tested a ton, but it was respected quite well here, where we had this support trend line here, and we flipped it into resistance, which is actually what led me to take my short. But like I said, there was just some signs of weakness with that bearish momentum, so I ended up flipping long recently. But yeah, just be a little bit cautious right now. We do technically have this support that could be flipping into resistance, so just watch for weakness around here. And you know, if that does flip into resistance hard, I actually ended up taking the rest of my profits off this long too from the other day at 68.3. I ended up closing the rest of it at, what was it, 70,666. I ended up closing the rest of that out just because, you know, there's chance that there's weakness here. I wanted to lock in some profits there. But yeah, there is potential here. I just want to zoom out a little bit. You know, there is the possibility that we come down a little bit low if we're going to test down near the support of this area down here. I mean, especially, you guys know I like pulling Fibonacci's from the auto charting tool pivot points as well. And this looks like a beautiful one on the 1 hour, right? If I pull from my higher low to my higher high, I mean, a healthy pullback could bring us all the way down towards, you know, 67.3, maybe even a little bit lower. But that would be quite healthy. Is it going to happen? I'm open to the idea if, like I said, you know, going down into a lower time frame, if all of a sudden we start printing lower sell signals again, I'm going to take that as a little bit of a warning that, hey, I should get out of my long, maybe even start looking for some tight invalidation short setups and that sort of thing. But let me just check on my position here. Is anyone else in any interesting positions, either swing trades or scalps? How is everyone feeling about the market? Curious to see if you guys are favoring the long side or the short side. I know Will and Jay are on the bullish train. I'm with you. I am more so looking for longs at this point, even in my scalping setups. I'm going to close half my position. Actually, no, a quarter. Just to play it safe, pay some fees. Whoops. Yeah, I'm on 100x leverage on that position. So you know what? At 36%, I'm willing to take a little bit off the table there, reduce my risk. And since it's such high leverage, you know what? I am going to update my stop loss for now, just because it's going to be easy to get sidetracked while I'm looking at the charts here. There we go. Just now I can relax a little bit. Yeah, that's why I really like, you know, that's why I really like looking at the lower time frames as well, because you can see them playing out in real time, right? So these sell signals, they never did end up printing a lower sell. Actually, it was very slightly higher, and we still have these higher trending buy signals, which is why I only want to close a quarter of my position at this time. But I did want to just make sure I lock in my fees and stuff. And at this point, if the rest gets stopped out at break even, we're kind of losing that buy trend anyways. Yes, it could be a little fake out. I can always re-enter if we reclaim this resistance or something like that, just to play it safe while I'm here live with you guys. That's just kind of how I'm using it, as a little bit of risk management, right? That if this trend is really going to gain some legs and this trend is going to continue just to be very strong here, I would really like to see these, just basically push the price aggressively. I don't really want to see us come back down to my entry at this point. Because even though it is just the 1 minute, I mean, since that's what I entered on, that's what I'm paying attention to. And, you know, I think if we lose that support level of this range here, then I just want to reevaluate and see what happens. You know, maybe we get a new buy signal, maybe we get a Stuber fib pullback, you know, something like back to here. That would be very healthy, right? And I'm open to that idea, which is why I want to protect myself, because I think I could get into a better long position if we do end up stopping this one out at break even. But like I said, we start basically we start losing this uptrend of buy and sell signals, then that's just indicating that there's a little bit of weakness to me. So it's not that I take every single signal on its own. I don't weight it all too much, but like I said, the way they're trending, that's just something I've really worked into the way I like to trade. And I mean, you can just see it happening, right? Same with on other time frames. I'll bring up the 4-hour chart. Just notice what happens when we get a higher buy signal. A higher buy signal. Higher buy signal. Higher buy signal. Kind of see what I'm getting at? Is that when you get those higher signals, they've just played out so beautifully, right? Same with even a smaller one like this, you know, let's say lower sell signal. That was a beautiful short entry as well. So that's just something that I really like to watch for with this indicator. Obviously, it's not going to work out every single time, right? No trade setup ever does, but that's just one way that I like to kind of confirm which way the trend is going is all. And that's actually something, you'll like this, Smallio. That's something that really grabbed my attention actually a week or two ago with Trio Ordinals, is that on the 4-hour chart, one thing that I will mention, guys, this pair is low trading volume. So in my opinion, don't market buy with large volume. You will push the price on yourself. I think that happened to somebody yesterday. This is the MEXC chart. I think that happened on BingX yesterday. But I always, whenever it comes to low volume trading pairs like this, I always use limit orders so that, you know, I'm not going to get absolutely nailed with slippage against myself. But this is something that I love to see with this coin, and this is what really caught my eye the other day, was we had these higher trending buy signals on the 4-hour chart, and we printed another one, right? So in my opinion, that looks like there's a nice trend there. So whether it's, you know, looking for reasons to trade with leverage, or if I'm, you know, looking at spot accumulating things, that's just one thing that I love to see. You know, I want to see those things trending to the upside if I'm going to get start buying, just because it looks like it's, you know, it's more, my belief about it being in an uptrend is just more so confirmed by the indicators agreeing, right? Yeah, I don't really want to see this resistance hold. Like I said, you know, it's not it's not real serious, but this was respected quite well on the 15-minute, especially down at this level here. Obviously it's been drawn to this level, and so far it's having a hard time breaking it. That being said, I almost feel like this would have dumped us more aggressively if it was going to. The fact that, you know, we're setting some lower lows and lower highs, we did technically break that. Yes, that's micro analyzing, but just something to look for as far as, you know, maybe that downtrend, maybe that is all it had, right? I'm curious to see what some of the indicators are saying on the 5-minute. Let me just erase a couple things here. Yeah, so 5-minute, kind of looking at that same support level, right? Let's bring up the auto charting tools first. We have printed a lower low. There never was a lower high on this downtrend here. I mean, yes, maybe we print one now and then we could look for some sort of a Stuber short in the future. But right now, I mean, it's absolutely possible that we're going to just, you know, if we reclaim this support, it's very possible that we just rip right to resistance, right? And that could also line up very nicely with a Stuber fib pull, something like that. Actually, it would line up very nicely if that were to happen. Just theories at this point, but it's, you know, just worth watching. If, you know, if the chart starts heading that direction, does it make sense that it's going to happen? Does it make sense that it keeps running if we do reclaim this support here? Yeah, I think it makes sense that we would carry on to the upside a little bit, but we'll have to see what happens because the market doesn't give a shit what I think. Something that I like to see is that while Bitcoin has been pumping in the, you know, the recent week or so, Bitcoin dominance was also high. Now, I know a lot of people think that that can be a very bearish sign, and that's true, it can, but The way I look at it, there's kind of two different ways to look at Bitcoin dominance, right? If Bitcoin is pumping and the market's excited and Bitcoin dominance is flying, in my opinion, that means that everyone's excited about Bitcoin, which is the king of crypto, right? So at the start of a healthy bullish run, it makes a lot of sense that the focus would be on the head honcho, be right on Bitcoin. From there, if you see, Bitcoin starts ranging rather than, just up only, if it kind of cools off but doesn't see like something doesn't panic the market, you just see the price kind of consolidating sideways for a while, and you see that Bitcoin dominance start to drop off a cliff. That's when altcoins will get very interesting, very juicy to the upside. But as it stands right now, love to see that. I think in healthy conditions, it's good to see the focus is actually on Bitcoin while the price is climbing, right? That being said, if Bitcoin dominance is climbing, but the market is terrified, bad things are happening in the market, there's black swan event, that could indicate that people are panicking out of their more aggressive assets. They want to be in something a little bit safer, and maybe even it's easier for them to off ramp with Bitcoin rather than some of the random trash they're holding, right? So it's something to consider there. There can be a couple of different meanings there. Bitcoin is starting to struggle a little bit under this resistance. I want to zoom right into the 1 minute. Let's check her out. RSI is dropping a little bit. I might sell another quarter of my position here just in case. Like I said, I'm trading on 100x leverage. I want to be real quick to downsize my risk here, so I am going to close another quarter. Sitting at 25% since it's ridiculous leverage. That way I know at this point I'm making money. Even after they take my fees, I know I'm going to be a little bit profitable at least. Just protecting myself, but I really want to see us climb to the upside. I will be looking for reasons to go long again if I do get stopped out on the rest of this, because I truly do think that there's a lot of strength in the market right now. Even though we have this sell signal on the 4 hour, again, it's a higher trending sell signal, right? So I don't think it'll take long until we end up flipping this into a higher buy signal, and I think that'll be, that's where we're really going to see the market go nuts. Obviously anything can happen, but that's just what it's looking like to me. And even notice how quick the RSI is cooling off as we sell back. We've barely sold back or pulled back on the 4 hour here, and the RSI is, 3/4 of the way towards oversold conditions. I still do think that it's possible, we see some kind of a pullback here like I was talking about on the other chart. Down towards that 67, 66. But, I'm not convinced that we have to go there. It's just that if we do go there, I'm going to be looking at shorter time frames, looking for basically Stuber fibs inside Stuber fibs, right? I'm going to have this one laid out on the 4 hour if we keep pulling back. And then I'm going to be searching for them on the 5 minute, the 1 minute, etc., to really kind of dial in my entries, because like I said, with higher leverage, I trade shorter time frames and that sort of thing. So really zooming in to really dial it in. Otherwise, your stop losses can get very far away when you're using that type of leverage. Yeah, just the factor. Honestly, just the fact that we're chilling under this resistance, I'm tempted to take a short. I'm just not going to, because this is where, that risk management using the indicators comes into play. Because here's one thing to consider, you guys, and I know I've said this in my last few videos, but understand that indicators don't need to be just to force yourself into positions. So many people just really, really dial into their whatever indicator setup they're looking for just to kind of force entries. Whereas I kind of more so, yes, I do use them to help me find entries, but I'm also using them as risk management, right? And in this case, the fact that things are still trending to the upside here for now, I'm just not quite ready to take a short just because we're trading near resistance here. Even if it does play out and, the market just absolutely dumps from here, Yeah, it's possible, but I'm just not open to that risk right now because the indicator is not being a good second opinion on that theory right now. Oh, later, Jay. Yeah, right now, and even as well, another sell signal, but again, it is technically a higher sell signal again. It also looks like with this Keltner band here, it looks like there is some sort of buy-in pressure coming in here. I would love to see this hold as support right now. The fact that it is my horizontal support on the 1 minute, as well as having this band right here. I don't really want to see us drop that. And again, just another reason I'm willing to just cut the rest of my position at break even, the other half of it here, if we do drop that level. But again, if we do drop, I'm just looking for reasons to long. And like I said, I'll be eyeing up this Stuber fib here. I usually don't like blind ordering with positions. Like I don't just set limit orders at those levels. Usually I want to see also some sort of strength. With Stuber fibs, sometimes I will do the limit orders, but if you wanted to be safer about it, you could even wait for on a shorter time frame. You see, or not a shorter time frame, rather a smaller swing. You see another one happen, right? So let's say you see something like this, where you do set another lower low, you have a confirmed lower high, and then you break that structure, right? Something like this. Then at least you have some sort of a confirmation that the immediate swing to the downside is over, right? By breaking that. Not to say it can't continue. It's just some sort of another confirmation that it looks like, hey, it makes sense that we're going to bounce from this level. Because quite often that's what I'll do, right? I'll pull a really big range. I'll have my Fibonacci's. And as we get down towards that 786, 886, that's where I just try and zoom in and find even smaller breaks in structure just to really pinpoint that entry. What else? Oh, I wanted to take a look at the MDX ALGO dashboard here. One thing that's interesting as well, you guys know that retail is generally wrong. Retail seems to be insanely short right now for some reason. That's another thing that's just leading me to believe that there is some fuel there for a potential short squeeze right through resistance coming up fairly soon. Again, doesn't have to happen, but how often is retail correct on the way things are going? It just seems like, and that's very strange to me, actually. A point I want to make about this is, you go on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, any sort of social media, it seems so taboo to even mention being bearish. It seems like it's, you're totally crazy if you're bearish about anything. Yet retail, it seems to be insanely short right now. So I don't know if people don't believe what they're actually saying and that they think like, oh yeah, I'm bullish so that I can say I told you so when we do break out, but I think that I'm probably wrong, so I'm going to trade the downside. Like I don't know what the thinking is there or how that's lining up. I'm trying to figure out how everybody is insanely bullish, total moon
You will
bullish.
never guess who it belongs to.
Oh,
You'll never guess who it belongs to.
Oh, you're on the air. I'm just going to mute you there. But yeah, basically, I don't really get it. I don't get why retail is so heavily short, but nobody is acknowledging that they are bearish. So I just find it weird right now. Yeah, the Bears are trying to step in. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Rest of position stopped out at break even. Hopefully I wasn't hit with slippage there. It kind of jumped a little bit. But still interested in going long, honestly. We're going to have to see how this reacts here. I might just open up a new position soon. We'll see. Let my app has to load. Okay. Like even that recovery there, Maybe I shouldn't have had a tight stop on that, but whatever. That's why I paid myself a little bit up here. But let's see. Again, even if we broke this kind of structure here, I'd be open to the possibility that, hey, we're going to set a higher buy signal and we're going to continue on. Especially, we've tested this resistance, which used to be support. We've tested it so many times that, at what point are we going to just reclaim it? Oh. Yeah, perfect touch point. Respected it from the bottom side a bunch there. I mean, I think if we do reclaim that, I think we're just going to shoot right back to the top of that range. Let's zoom right in here. Get rid of this guy. That's unfortunate if that does just bounce from here, but whatever, we can always re-enter. It does seem like there's some bullish volume coming in here. And let's just watch for a few minutes, see what happens. Starting to see sell signal or sell pressure coming in the bands. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that wasn't a crazy idea. Being I'm uncertain right now, I'm just glad that position is closed for now. Sometimes it's better to be sitting on the sidelines if you don't have a clear view. Oh, thanks for joining. Always appreciate it. What are some other indicators I can check out? I want to take a look at the liquidations. This is something that actually is also concerning for the short term here. I do only have the 50 and 100x liquidations mapped out here or used on my liquidations indicator. Does it make sense that we would go to the downside? There is a lot of liquidity down there. There's no arguing that fact. Most of it is to the downside at this point. There is a little bit above us right around that all-time highs again because, people are starting to short again. So we're going to have to see what happens here. Honestly, when it comes to like entering positions and stuff, I would never enter a position based solely on this, right? But using this as confirmation as, well, if this starts to grow legs to the downside, that double top scenario that I had mentioned, if that, we do get that double top failed break of the sell signal, we close below this, close below 70K, let's say on Sunday, does it make sense that we continue the move to the downside? Yeah, I think at that point it does make sense that we would see some sort of a correction. I don't know if it would necessarily be bearish. Like I said earlier, I think a healthy pullback to like 54, 53K might not be the end of the world. I feel much different about that level than I did a week ago, just because we broke 70K. Market structure, things can look very similar and be totally different. The fact that we were getting rejected here, I felt much different, or I feel much different now that we've closed candles above that level, because at least we've confirmed that we broke above this level. So even if we have a pullback, I'm still bullish on it. It's just that the unfortunate part, if you want to be bullish, is this is the confirmed low of the range, right? I mean, all the way down at 49K. I don't think we're going all the way down there, but just understand it is possible. To see that sort of a pullback would be totally healthy, in my opinion, but man, would people be upset. If we start dropping there, I would love to get into some juicy long positions. Again, not setting blind orders there at this time, but I will be aggressively searching on lower time frames for longs if we do end up getting down there. Just kind of preparing, just getting ready, just in case it happens, right? Trying to be one step ahead of the market. So I'm actually just going to chase price structure for a while. We're just going to watch how this goes for a little bit, because I want to show kind of how I look at market structure. And I know I do show this every video, looking back at structure and that sort of thing, but just to show it live here. So here's where I had a low. We end up bouncing a little bit. We end up setting this lower low, right? And yes, I understand this is microanalyzing once again, but just looking at the very immediate swing that we're in currently. Low, lower low, lower high, because it's the highest point between the two. So that's basically why I have that outlined here. I'm actually going to change it from white to yellow. Just getting some background noise. Guys, if you could just make sure that your mics are muted unless you do want to chat or mention anything or whatever. Just the echoes and feedback and stuff, right? Otherwise, I just mute you, and that's fine too. But then you just have to let me know if you want to be unmuted or whatever. That's fine too. But yeah, currently low, lower low. This yellow line is now my lower high structure on just this very immediate 1 minute trend. Oops. Let's just undo that. I do like that we're starting to get some bright green coming in here. The RSI is also getting near 30 here. That can easily go overextended into oversold conditions. But at that point, I would love to see some sort of a bullish, get something like this. I would love to get into some sort of a double bottom with that type of a bullish divergence on the RSI. It's a very specific divergence that I like to look for. See, so maybe it wasn't so crazy. Like I said, using the indicators as risk management, right? We ended up losing that buy trend. I ended up taking the rest of my, closing the rest of my position at break even, just in case this downtrend does end up growing some legs, right? At this point, you know, we get a higher trending buy signal. I'm going to be looking for longs again. If we set a lower buy followed by a lower sell, I'm probably actually going to swing at a little bit of a short. Or at least start laddering into a little one. And at that point, you know, my invalidation would be basically above where they change directions. Like if we do end up setting a lower sell signal, then invalidation would basically be above the higher one, right? But we have to see what happens before that. For now, I'm just basically interested in watching what's going to happen for the next little bit. You know, I'm also going to mark the bottom of the range just so it's easier to see when it does break. Hopefully this kind of helps you guys. You know, I understand not everybody's looking at the 1 minute chart, and I understand not everybody is scalping trades like that and looking for those little profits here and there. But when I look at the 1 minute like this, you can get a good idea of how I look at structure. And, you know, the same thing applies when I'm looking at the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, whatever, right? I treat structure the same. And yeah, it's just easier to get more live examples on the 1 minute, obviously. But yeah, you know, like I said, the 1 minute is not for everybody. Honestly, it can lead to over trading, over leveraging, revenge trading, all those really bad habits that you're supposed to avoid. In my opinion, most people shouldn't trade the 1 minute, but I just feel more comfortable. I like, when I enter a position, I like knowing very quickly if I'm going to lose or not. I don't like that waiting around for days to find out if my position's going to work out. Honestly, tempted to swing at a little tight invalidation long right now just because there's this potential double bottom here. But I want to wait for those confirmations. Just because, like I said, I honestly, I think the market is in such an interesting place right now. We're at a make or break point. The fact, like, the fact that we are currently trading right at that weekly sell signal, I mean, we are literally at a make or break point, in my opinion. I agree, though. I think up only season is very close. I'm just, I'm open to the idea yet, since we haven't broke out yet. I'm still open to the idea of some sort of a shorter term reversal where we retest some lower levels. But I agree. I think that this is starting to look much better than it did last week. I was quite concerned, honestly, with last week's weekly candle closing red right underneath that sell signal there, right underneath my 70K horizontal resistance. I was quite concerned about that. And I shouldn't actually say concerned. I was excited about it. But, you know, we still technically have that. We could end up getting rejected just because, like I said, that daily chart, I mean, that or which chart was that? Let me just get rid of this. I still think that, you know, although I don't think it's a likely reversal, there is technically that double top with a bearish divergence. And I love those bearish divergences that go from overextended conditions down to like right where those conditions begin. Just like on the opposite side of things, you know, when you can go from overextended up into regular territory. Such a strong reversal signal so often. And that's really the last thing. I mean, this potential double top and that weekly sell signal are the last lines of defense for the Bears. I think their time is very limited. I think it's only a matter of time in the next couple of weeks where we see that breakout and hopefully turn into a blue sky breakout, right? And then I can be a moon boy with everybody again. Yeah, exactly. Make or break. But again, even if it gets rejected, I don't think it's the end of the market cycle. I really don't think it's the end. I'm just open to the idea of some sort of a little bigger final shakeout than what we've seen. But we'll see, right? Like I said, market doesn't give a shit what I think. MicroStrategy, just because it's very Bitcoin related with Michael Saylor, right? Has been performing amazingly. It's actually been doing significantly better than Bitcoin, smashing all-time highs. On the 4-hour chart, I'm just kind of watching this order block here. I don't actually trade this. I just follow it a little bit, and some friends and family that also follow it, so I like to analyze it from time to time. Yeah, pretty interesting that it's just been flying. Michael Saylor's on to something, I guess. I wanted to check out the DXY. See, here's another thing. I know I pointed this out in my last video as well. The DXY technically has this bullish Stuber fib that's still in play. Because it did break this structure, again, just going low, lower, low. Here was the lower high. Here's where that lower high got broken, right? So this structure was invalidated way over here. Yeah, it makes total sense to end up pulling back to that Stuber fib, but notice that's exactly where it ended up bottoming out, filled the fib pocket perfectly, hit the old Stuber range target, straight back down, right into that fib pocket again, finding support again. Yes, maybe this bounce here is a little bit weaker than this one over here. So maybe it is going to end early and the DXY does end up dumping off a cliff. And also understand that the DXY and Bitcoin, although yes, it's understood that they, you know, trend opposite directions or whatever, they don't have to. It's just something to consider. But at certain times in the market cycles, quite often they'll end up playing out the same direction for, you know, little bits of time. But yes, if this does end up dumping off a cliff, I think that would obviously be good for Bitcoin. And if we do end up just keep pumping to the upside, understand that you know, being that there was this bullish structure break, it's absolutely possible that the DXY is going to retest the top of the range. And that's why I have this red box here, right? Because if I was looking for a bearish Stuber fib, it would be right at that red box. So if the DXY climbs all the way up here because some sort of crazy black swan event happens or whatever, again, don't think it's necessarily going to happen, just understand that it could. Maybe that'll be when the bear market starts, when we start climbing up to that level. I honestly don't know. But just understand that with this chart structure here, with this bullish structure break on the daily time frame, that could be a bottom for the DXY. And for people who are strong believers in the Bitcoin DXY reverse correlation, then yeah, you know, that could be a concerning sign. See, so here's how I'm just going to do a quick market structure update, right? Since we set a new lower low here, the highest point between the two is now, it's barely dropped just because of how the structure worked. But that's basically the downtrending range that I'm currently looking at now. The indicators are starting to look a little bottomy, right? Looking at this potential reversal here, the RSI climbed from oversold up into regular territory. Not a double bottom type of scenario yet. I would personally rather see something like this and then the RSI do something like this. I think in that case, I would feel confident in starting to build a little bit of a long. Still like that there's a bunch of buy volume stepping in this band with the Algo Master, but again, it is still kind of trending to the downside. So I really do want to see that higher buy signal or just some sort of further confirmation. That is a nice sign, though. Not gonna lie. Just not quite ready to pull the trigger yet. Yeah, that's the thing too. I'm always charting on the Blofin exchange just because that's what I'm charting. So understand your numbers might be a little bit different as well, depending what exchange you're looking at. Speaking of Blofin, guys, I know I mentioned it earlier, but anybody interested in trying out Blofin, I do have this current promotion. Even if you just want to take advantage of it, it's over on November the 7th. But there's some really good deposit and trading bonuses that they're giving me and my followers. Well, yeah, not me, giving my followers currently. Read the fine print. Obviously, they're not sending you a Tesla vehicle. They would send you the USDT value based on trading volume. Obviously, you need to trade some serious funds to get that kind of a thing. But really good deposit bonuses and that sort of thing for the next little bit. Also, I have maxed out the trading fees. Or maxed out the trading fees. The cashback on the trading fees. So you get 20% cashback on your trading fees if you're signed up with my link there. So but yeah, like I said, that's only running till the 7th, so even if you just want to take advantage of the deposit bonuses or whatever, just wanted to throw it out there. Tits, I can look at tits. Is that on TradingView, or you're talking more like meme coins looking at dex screener, stuff like that? I just haven't looked at that chart, so I don't know where I should be looking at the best chart. On TL? You mean TradingView? Cornhub. Holy hell. Are you in on this? And if so, when did you get in? Later, guys. Thanks for joining again. Where did you get it on this thing? It's up like 100x. I can't really do any analysis on that. Well, that's a daily chart. Okay, let's start. Candle bodies still technically closing higher. Jesus. That is crazy volatility. Like even this dip, what did that end up dropping? Just a quick 70% correction followed by a 200% rally. Jeez. That's a tough one to analyze. That thing is all over the place. I mean, if you want, I can say that, hey, here's the range that we're currently in. I mean, technically, if it's going to get rejected, well, you know what? It actually closed above the 886. There's some strength there. But yeah, technically, we are at resistance. If we do see some sort of a pullback, I mean, might be a juicy opportunity down at a Stuber fib. That's again, I don't know if it's going to happen. Maybe it just keeps crushing it to the upside from here. But that's one of those opportunities that it makes more sense to be buying on a pullback rather than FOMOing into resistance, right? Especially after something's already done 100x. In my opinion, at 100x, that's a nice round number that a lot of people start taking profits when, no matter how they feel about a project. If someone caught 100x, they'd be silly not to be taking some profits. And I mean, that's obviously why we got this crazy volatility. Got a buy trend. We got higher trending buy signals. Not that surprised. Man, look at how beautiful of an entry that buy signal was. It's crazy when you see these indicators on some real low cap coins, that how beautiful those buy signals turn into, even for spot buys, right? Absolutely beautiful. And that's one reason, again, why I'm very bullish on Trio right now, being it's only like a $4 million market cap or something. And I just see no reason why we wouldn't fill most of this wick, right? So just again, be careful when you're trading these smaller cap coins, especially with the low trading volume and stuff. In my opinion, don't market buy. I would definitely be setting limits because you don't want to create a whole bunch of slippage on yourself. Let's zoom in even further. Let's check out the 5 minute. Little bit of a warning sign. Doesn't need to mean anything yet, but we do have a lower buy signal on the ALGO master on the 5 minute. If this prints a lower sell signal, in my opinion, I don't know, if it was me, that's just reason for me to, if I'm in a nice profit, I would be considering that, hey, this is a little bit of a warning. This is a nice TP signal. But so far, you know, these are trending up, these are trending down. It's kind of undecided. There's not a clear signal there. That being said, the auto charting tools, notice we have set a lower high and a lower low. And let's pull a Fibonacci from there on that mini swing and notice where we are currently struggling a little bit. Not to say it has to get rejected, just understand that we are technically at resistance from a few different angles. So I'm personally not feeling FOMO looking at this. I just like tits. Yeah, don't we all? In it for the tech. Yeah, those huge dumps that happened, I don't know, in my opinion, that's 100x people taking profits. Does it recover from that? I don't know. Technically, that broke the bullish structure, right? If I just remove some drawings here, like technically speaking, high, higher, high. Let's just get rid of indicators. Let's just go naked chart style and how I look at it. When I'm looking for Stuber fibs, for example, high, higher, high. Lowest point between the two is the lower low. That obviously got broken, thus confirming this as our high. And now we have to see what happens because that did break the bullish structure technically. See, whereas back here, that never actually happened. It looks like it did because we lost this level, but we never had a high, higher high. Even here, right? High, higher low. It never got broken. Here, there was not, this would have been, I guess this would have carried on, and that was not broken. We just carried on to the upside, right? After setting this high, higher high, that confirms this as our higher low. Did it get broken? No. Higher high, higher low. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Broken for the first time. So see, even though I am micro-analyzing the trend, you can see how I'm looking at structure here and how that structure has technically changed in my opinion, and that is the exact type of structure I look for when I short Stuber fibs. So again, yeah, you know, there's momentum to the upside. Maybe this thing just takes off, but understand that's a classic Stuber short setup. So if I was in nice profits, would I be taking some? Me personally, yeah. I also am not really an all or nothing kind of a guy. Like I'm more likely to close part of my position and then leave some run just in case it carries on, right? But yeah, if I can, you know, pay myself back for my investment fee or whatever, right? Or investment cost rather. Um, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad time in my opinion. Bitcoin did get another buy signal, but again, it's a lower buy signal, so I'm getting a little bit of a warning there, not to long yet. It could absolutely blast off from here, but at some point I'll get a higher buy signal. Um, Something to watch for a potential short setup. I want to see on the Algo Master, I want to see a lower sell signal printed. But at that point, I would like to start looking for some bearish Stuber fibs to try and take a swing at. So hopefully this is helpful, both how I look at structure. Maybe I say something that just helps you clue into even one of your own strategies, right? That's what I always hope to achieve here, that hopefully I can say something that just, you know, maybe it's not even how I do things, but just one thing that I say that really just tweaks the way you're trading or the way you're looking at entries or risk management or whatever. And hopefully it's helpful the way I look at structure, as well as, again, I think this is a very good point that a lot of people should take home, is that indicators aren't just for finding entries, right? I personally, I like using them more as risk management than anything for myself. Just a second opinion. I'm always a structure guy first. I like structure and Fibonacci's, and then I love bringing up the indicators, looking for that second opinion is basically the way I like to trade. It's helpful? Right on. Love to hear it. And you know what? I obviously learn from you guys too. So many people post so many nice charts in the chats. We're all in this together. And that's where I really think that, you know, for anybody who's watching this on my YouTube channel a little bit later, if the indicators do interest you, I do have that discount link down below in my video. But in my opinion, the indicators are just the start. I think way over half the value is being a part of the Discord community. Honestly, there's so much to learn from so many very talented traders who really know their shit. It's a very, very valuable combination. Um, Well, guys, I don't know how long Biddy's just going to bounce around here, but I think I kind of got my point across how I look at the structure, how I verify things with the indicators, all that sort of thing. Obviously, none of this is financial advice because we're all going to trade different. Even if we have the same trend lines, the same indicators, absolutely everything, I can guarantee we'll trade the market different. Always do back testing. You know, when you're going to put money behind your own theories and that sort of thing, go back into trading view, use the replay feature, see how many times, how often, and the quality of your trade setups are, and all that sort of thing, right? Very valuable because your eye is going to catch different things than my eye is going to catch. That's just totally natural. So consider that as well, obviously. But anyways, legends, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. So hopefully you found this stream useful. If anybody watching this on my channel later is interested in my absolute favorite indicators on TradingView, there's an additional 10% discount on checkout with the link down below, which also gives you access to MDX Crypto's MDX ALGO VIP Discord group, which I was just talking about, and who I'm here with right now. I'm personally doing most of my trading on Blofin, and as I just mentioned, there is a link down below to join for that, but they are currently giving my followers a special promotion that will give sick deposit and trading bonuses until November 7th. So the link is down below if you wish to take advantage of that. I also maxed out the trading fees cashback, so you also get that 20% of your trading fees back into your funding account when using my link to sign up for that exchange. So with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.